Hey guys, today I'm going to be tackling the next step in the garage series, which is clearing up all of this mess over here. As you can see, it's I've tried to be organized, but it hasn't worked out too well. I've got a lot of junk down here, a lot of car parts, other stuff there's no room for. Up here I've got an old dresser I got out of a storage unit, which isn't very useful other than a surface to put things on. So I've tried to stay organized with these tubs, had all kinds of different things in there. I've got an old toolbox here, another old toolbox down here, but I've got a new toolbox back here that I've moved a lot of stuff into. So now I'm going to be able to kind of get this stuff cleared out, cleaned out. I want to build a workbench. Basically, it goes from a door. You see a door back there. Go from the door about where that weed trimmer is hanging, all the way down to about where those gray storage boxes are, right there next to the toolbox. So I want a surface there. I can put a couple of these toolboxes, put some other things, but also have an area underneath where I can store car parts and other things that are kind of big and bulky. Wet dry vac, air compressor. So really all I'm going to be using, I picked up some MDF last night. This is 3/4 inch. We'll make this tabletop surface 2 layers thick, and since this is about 12-ish feet long, I'll overlap them so that it'll make them stronger. But that's what this video is going to be today, is making this surface that's going to run the length of this wall. So I picked up 2 full 4x8 sheets, and very heavy. And then I also grabbed 4 2x4s. I may end up needing a couple more, but that's what I've got for now. The other thing this will hopefully help with is I've got a shelf here where I have some cleaning supplies for cars and a few other things. There's the gloves and other detail items. And then behind that I've got a rolling shelf that has my chop saw and table saw, and then wood scraps underneath. The bottom 2 shelves are taken up by wood scraps, so that can probably be done a little bit better. I want to try to get rid of this shelf so I can actually get to my tools there. Not be able to access them just makes me want to procrastinate any jobs that I have around the house that require the chop saw or the table saw. So once I get that organized and accessible, hopefully it'll spark some other projects that I've been putting off. Alright, well, let's get started cleaning this place out. First thing I'm going to do is get all of this stuff out of here, so I'll have a clean place to put the new workbench.
Yeah, I don't believe in destiny, I just do what's best for me. Don't listen to my enemies, they're just full of jealousy. Yeah, this legacy, you gon' see what's left of me. You gon' see success in me, you ain't seen the rest of me. I just wanna be the best at what I know, better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes, call me aggressive with my flow, call me offensive even though yo, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right, it's not enough. Even though you try, you still mess up. But I'm still gonna fight for what I love, still gonna die for what I love, still gonna try, I won't give up, still gonna fight until I've won. They say I'm way too obsessed and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet, but those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end.
Alright, so as you can see, making some good progress here. A couple things I'm going to have to figure out what to do with. One, got a receptacle down here pretty low. That's probably about 25-26 inches from the floor, and I'm going to want my workbench to be above that level. So I may have to move that up a little bit higher, so it'll be above the workbench. Right now, you can see I just had a power strip plugged into it and moved up to the top, but now that I'm going to put a workbench over it, I don't think that's going to work. So I don't want to move these cabinets. So my workbench, I think I'm going to have probably about 30 inches off the floor, which is going to be about right here. And then I've just got to move these bins, the little tape shelf I have there. I'll move these and do something else with this.
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man, it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words. Gonna be a star, man, life's like a blur. When you're working this hard till you get what you deserve. Yeah, I ain't taking a backseat, I'm passing anybody else who is rapping. I'm nasty, ain't nobody able to catch me. They gasping, they cannot compare, they can't match me. I'm at half speed, I got your girl that she laughing.
Alright, so I've thought about this a little while. I've got a separate piece of plywood. It goes from here over to about here. It goes all the way up behind these cabinets, but I think I can cut a straight line across here with the circular saw and just unscrew that plywood and take it completely off, and then I can turn that receptacle box to a junction box, run a line up and put in maybe a quad box up here, up high, and then reinstall the plywood. And then the invisible fence, I can move all that pretty easily. That's no big deal. So I just went through my stuff. I'm in luck. Got a box, a couple receptacles, and I've got my wire. Only thing I need is the plate, cover plate. So the next thing I'm going to do is remove the invisible fence stuff and then cut that plywood off and put in the new box. Right, so I jumped up there, checked the thickness of the plywood. It is 3/8, and I was going to break out the chalk line and put a line across here where to cut it, but I'm actually going to cheat a little bit and just put the edge of my circular saw right up against the edge of the cabinet and use that and make the cut right underneath these cabinets here. So setting up the circular saw so that it's just barely beyond the edge of this piece of 3/8 plywood, because you don't want it to go deep into this wall. I don't know what kind of wiring or what's back there, so you just want your blade to barely cut through this wood. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove all the screws so I don't hit any of those, and then remove all of this invisible fence stuff and the outlet cover, and then I'll be ready to cut.
Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still feel nothing at all but pain and the chill. Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still feel nothing at all but pain and the chill. Yeah, cold and I'm all alone. Yeah, I can't even see shore. Yeah, and I got nowhere to go. Yeah, hoping I can stay afloat. Yeah, it feels like I've been dreaming, but I know I'm not sleeping. I just need hope. Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still feel nothing at all but pain and the chill. Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still feel nothing at all but pain and the chill. Yeah, the waves crash.
Okay, so I've decided I'm going to keep the receptacle that's there, and then I'm just going to run a line up and install another box up towards the cabinet. So I'll just reuse this sheet of plywood and then add another box right up in here, right beside the same stud that this is on. So I'll cut a 4x4 box here.
standing right here, eyes peer with my mind clear. Never look rear, only up, never down. Off the ground till I'm found. Hear the sound, listen to me now as the beat pounds. Every ounce of my effort pouring out, so you never have a doubt. Do you like me now? Am I good enough now? Should I get more loud till you hear the fucking sound? Oh no, I'm losing my shit again, having to fit again. Man, I'm forgetting when I used to have some friends. I used to play pretend, we all grow up and then hating my phone and trends. I'm about to blow my head, nobody knows I'm dead. Fear I'm a ghost instead, think that I'm close, I get straight comatose in bed. Try to go slow with breath, breathe out my nose and head. Heart doesn't go the trend, faster it goes instead. One shot, that's all you got, take it right now, before you get lost, yeah. One shot, that's all you got, write your own story, you control the plot, yeah. One shot, that's all you got, could drop dead now with a fucking blood clot, yeah. One shot, give it all you got, and never back down, no I'm never gonna stop, yeah.
Alright, so here's my new box mounted. See, this receptacle's broken right here where the ground plug goes. So I'm going to replace this. And then I'll wire in my new line that's going to run right up to here. Alright, so I've got this receptacle installed. I went and picked up a new one at Home Depot. A little bit heavier duty than the other ones I had out earlier. Because I'm using a 12-2 line to match what was there to run up to here. Both those installed. So I'm ready for my plywood. I'm going to get this stuff cleaned up. I have kind of a mess here. Yeah, I'll just measure it from this hole. This one was pretty spot on, so I'll just measure up to there, get that marked, and cut out the plywood and reinstall it. Alright, so I've got the covers installed. So this is pretty much complete. Now I'm ready for the next step, which is going to be starting the top, where my tabletop is going to go. I'm going to start somewhere down here close to the toolbox. I'll be right in this area. I'm actually going to go all the way down, probably close to this light switch. I'll leave just a little space where I can stack some tall things here on the side. So that's, you're talking about maybe 12 feet there. So I'm going to break out my tape measure, figure out how long that's going to be, but then also have to figure out how high I want it on the wall here. I think it's going to be just above this receptacle, because I want to have room. I'm going to be able to put this toolbox on top of the work surface there. So I just need to measure that toolbox. Measure down from this, the bottom of this cabinet. And then that's where I'm going to put my tabletop. Can't really raise those cabinets up anymore. Can barely reach in the top of these now. Right, so let's measure this toolbox. I don't necessarily have to use the top, but this thing is just over 19 inches tall. We'll say 19 and a quarter. It'll be right up against the bottom this. So let's see, 19 1/4, about right there. That's about as high as I can have the top of my work surface. So I'm just going to mark that, and then I'm going to mark it on the other end. And then I'll snap a line, and that's where I'll put my, actually because I'll measure down 1.5 inches from that, and that's where I'll put my 2x4 to set my work surface on. Okay, I'm just about down to decision time on exactly where I want the end of this thing to be. Instead of using a chalk line, I actually just used my pencil and the 4-foot level, and I just drew a line all the way across. It will go right past this, my 2x4s will go right past this receptacle, so I'll just cut a spot there. So that's fine. I think I'm going to start with my first 2x4 on this end, because I'm pretty sure I know where I want that to end. I'll start here, and then I'll figure out the other end once I get down there. Alright, so I'm actually going to bring it right to the edge of this little concrete wall here. So I'm going to have my tabletop surface come out here and around. So I'll cut my board right here, so it'll stop right here beside this receptacle. Just got my saw out here in the driveway for now. It's supposed to start raining any minute, so I don't want to bring a whole setup out here. Just gonna be making a few cuts. Looks like. Alright, just gonna go just like that, so it'll line up this little section of wall here, and then it'll stop over next to the receptacle. Alright, now I'll screw this to the wall and we'll do the next piece. The next piece will just be a full 2x. That may actually be where I stop. Alright, I'm going to screw these to the wall, and we'll go on to step 2. Actually, you know what? I don't think I am going to screw them to the wall. I think I'm going to build the frame off the wall and then mount the whole thing to the wall at one time. Let's see what that looks like. Alright. So down here I have to keep in mind I've got these drawers that are going to come out. So I got to make sure my tabletop isn't going to come out to where the drawer is. I was wanting to come out 2 feet from the wall, which will bring it out to about here. So I may actually do that from the wall over to here, and then go back at a 45, and then come back and then turn in. So I've just got a little cutout area basically in this end of the work surface. So if that's the case, I'll come out 2 feet where I have my T-square, speed square. So this will be a full 2 feet, and I'll actually go back at this same 45-degree angle, and then the last 4 or 5 inches will be like right here. So to come here, 45 degree, and it'll come straight across, and this will be the full 2 feet. I'll go ahead and frame it, put it together, test fit it, and then you can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll all see if it actually makes sense. So, all right, on to the next step. All right, yeah, I think I'm going to build this off the wall. So there's going to be the back. Here's the front. Since my tabletop is going to be 24 inches deep, and these are 2x4s, I'm going to need a 21-inch piece in between here. I'm going to put one right here where this break is. Alright, so I've cut some 21-inch pieces here so you can kind of see the layout of the tabletop. You just need to measure. Right here is where we're going to come out, full 24-inch tabletop surface, and then we'll cut back at a 45-degree angle, and then back to the back here. So I need to measure one piece to go from here to here, and I guess I'll put to miter that joint where the 2x4s meet. And I have to build this out with a 45 on each end of this 2x4, so I can tie them all together. It's gonna be good though, it's big. Alright, so I think this is laid out how I want it. Just need to screw it all together. There's what I'm doing with that end. Not quite what I was looking for, but I believe it's gonna work just fine. And so my next step is to screw all this together and figure out what I'm gonna do for the legs on the front. One thing to keep in mind, most garages are sloped out towards the door. So you definitely want to make a level mark on the wall and not measuring up from the floor, just keeping it level from one end to the other. And then you'll have a shorter leg back here and then a longer leg up here, because we want your table to be level so stuff doesn't go rolling off or rolling down towards one end. So keep that in mind. And that's another good reason why you don't want to build, especially in a garage, necessarily just a freestanding four-legged table, because it's always going to be sloped, whichever way your garage floor is sloped. So yeah, I'm going to screw this together and we'll put it on the wall and see what it looks like. Alright, so I've cut a little bit over an inch off of all of these, and my total width is now about 22.5 inches. So I'll have about 1.5 inches overhang here where the top sticks over the front. So I'm just going to stand this up and start screwing this together. Also, I've spaced this, these cross pieces about 24 inches on center, except for right here I want about 26 inches. So I'm going to put one of my leg supports right here that'll connect these, tie these two pieces together. So I'm move this one down about 26 inches. So it's assembled for the most part. I just have these funky angles I got to put together here. I think it'll just be easier to do laying down. Just gonna do something like that. Let's go screw that together, and then this will be done. Be ready to mount on the wall. Now that shortening all of these 1 inch, it also changed the angle down here. It didn't change the angle, but it changed how far this was going to come in. So I got to take a little bit off the end of here, and just to hold this for now, I'm just going to put a little scab on these two pieces so they don't move around while I'm finishing at the end here. So yeah, I'll go ahead and cut the end off of that and screw all this together. Alright, so I've got some scrap pieces of wood here I'm using as temporary legs for the front to help hold this up while I get it plumb and level. On the wall, I want my top of my 2x4 on my line here. So I'm going to drop down 3.5 inches and just put a couple temporary blocks here to hold up the tabletop when I'm setting it in place. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get it set up. Got to get these blocks mounted. I'm ready to set this in place. Okay, as you can see, went in quite nicely. So it's going to go for my door. Cut out for the receptacle, all the way down to the toolbox. So let's make sure this drawer opens. So we'll have room for the drawer there. With it being at an angle, I still have enough room to get in here beside the toolbox, because I'll probably have some long stuff stored in there. So as you can see, my wall isn't completely flat. Like, I'm up tight here. Here there's a space. So I'm just going to get my level, make sure the back is level, and then I'm going to work on the front. The little temporary legs I made are short, so I'll use some shims to make sure this is level front to back and level end to end. So start with the back, make sure that's level and get that screwed to the wall, then I'll work on the front. Okay, so I've got that screwed in across the back. I use my level to make sure the two separate boards there were plumb with each other. So they're not necessarily screwed into the studs. What I'm going to do is cut a 2x4 and set it directly on this concrete ledge here to the bottom of that to provide the weight support for the tabletop, because it could be quite heavy with the different toolboxes and things that I'm going to have on it. So I'll probably do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 of those across the back for the weight support. Right, so I screwed in some blocks here so that my weight in the tabletop would be directly through here down to the concrete wall. Also leveled front to back. Use my short level here, make sure it was level front to back, and then I shimmed under my temporary legs, so now I'm completely level one end to the other, and front to back all the way across. So the next step is doing the front legs that'll support the weight of the front. So what I'm going to do is take a 2x4, like so. Then I'm just going to mark right across the 2x4 here, cut it, screw it on here, done. So I'll do that there. I'm going to do one definitely right here where we've got this joint. So I'll do a 2x4 this way. I'll probably do one about in the middle, probably right here. I'll probably do it on the side so it doesn't take up as much space across the front opening. And then I'll probably do one on the very end here. I don't think I'll do one down there. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 legs across the front. So I should have enough 2x4s for that. All right, let's do it. All right, so I've got all the legs cut, screwed on. Make sure the top of your leg is perfectly flush with the frame. That way the weight of the tabletop is fully resting on the leg itself, because you don't want the tabletop resting just on this. Then it's really just putting pressure on the screws you have in there versus just solid wood to wood contact, supported by the floor. So I got 4 legs here. I did decide to mount this one kind of further in a little bit, just so it's not in the way here when I'm accessing the toolbox and I'm not kicking it. And it also gives me a little bit of room if I want to roll something back in beside here. Gives me a little bit of extra room. But there shouldn't be a lot of weight down here on the very end, so that should be fine not to have a leg down on this end. Most of the weight I think is going to be on the back anyways along the wall. So that's it. I'm going to lay a tabletop piece on here and see what it looks like. And also, actually before that, I'm going to go ahead and connect the invisible fence. I'm going to mount it right underneath here, out of the way. Go ahead and get that done, and then I'll throw a tabletop on there. Alright, so I've got a piece of the tabletop on here. I think it's going to be great. Plenty of room underneath to put whatever I got, air compressor, toolbox, wet dry vac, all that stuff will go into there. And just by luck, the invisible fence worked out perfectly. I was able to mount it right underneath the 2x4, and so all that fits nicely in there. Receptacles under there, which is great, and I might plug the air compressor in there as well, and it'll be right under there. Still got the receptacle up top, so this is great. There'll be 2 pieces of this sandwiched together. So a piece that butts up against this, and then another piece that comes all the way down the length, so it'll be plenty strong. And then down on this end, I'll just go under here. I'll mark the thickness of my overhang, the width of my overhang here, and I'll just carry that straight back down here and then down the back, so it'll have the same overhang all the way around. And so I'll just mark that on the board, cut this off, set it on here, and then I'll be ready to screw it down to the base. Alright, as you can see, the top's done. Got the 2 full layers of 3/4 OSB, which are glued together. Just got it screwed into the frame all the way around, and that's it. So I'm going to start putting things back, get as much packed in here as possible, but still have it organized and somewhat neat. I may move up into those bins and get some of that rearranged. And as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff, all that, chop saw, these shelves, all of this stuff, all of this stuff. So, alright, let's get started.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside. I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold.
Alright, as you can see, stuff's going back nicely. Everything's filling up. A lot of this under here is car parts that are going to be going away here in the next couple of months. I'm just waiting on a few other parts. And I've got a big project for the Mustang. So once that's out of the way, I'll have room for some more stuff under there. We'll put these antifreezes probably up in those cabinets. I just need to get those cleaned out. Got room for my trash can under there, wet dry vac, plenty of stuff up here. I've got one of these drawers in front of another one. I'm going to move it over and mount it on the wall back here. And you know, that's pretty much it. I just have some random stuff here I need to do something with. And a couple things over here. So I still don't know what I'm going to do with the table saw and the chop saw and my lumber. I think it may end up going under the stairs.
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words. Gonna be a star, man, life's like a blur. When you're working this hard till you get what you deserve. Yeah, I ain't taking a backseat, I'm passing anybody else who is rapping. I'm nasty, ain't nobody able to catch me. They gasping, they cannot compare, they can't match me. I'm at half speed, I got your girl and she laughing and dancing, hanging on my butt, she asking to crash with me, smash with me, she savage, she wants cash money, and she knows that I live lavishly. I wanna live, I'm cold inside, give all I have just to feel alive.